Okay, this is the solutions to the June 2023 M8 Paper 1 and Paper 2. Okay, the first question says, Tony owns a pizza takeaway. Every time he sells 100 pizzas, he records a number that were pepperoni. The table shows some of his data. So let's have a look at how he's getting these results first of all. So the first thing we've got, it says for the number of pizzas sold, 100, 17 of these pizzas were pepperoni. So this number here is 17 over 100. So the next one is 0.2. Now how you get the 0.2 is you do 17 and then you plus 23. So this is like an F and this is a cumulative frequency. So that gives you, you plus 23, sorry, and that gives you 40. So then this is 40 over 200. The next one, add on 23, take you up to 63. So this number is 63 over 300. So this next one, add on 23, will take you up to 88. So this number here is going to be 88 over 400. So this number is 88 over 400, which works out to be 0.22. So this number then is something, I'll call this number here, this is x over 50. And we need to find out what this x is. And this is what this will be here. This x will be this total. So 0.23 is equal to x over 50. Sorry, I should say x over 500. That means 500 times 0.23 is equal to x. That's the same as 5 times 23 is equal to x. Wee bit of working out, that's going to be 115. So that means this number here is going to be 115 minus the 88, which was a previous cumulative frequency. And if you do that, you will get 27. So it was 27 then. Okay, so that's what you've got. So Tony uses his data to predict next year's pizza sales. He thinks he will sell 2,300 or 2,300 pepperoni pizzas next year. How many pizzas will he expect? Okay, so we have found out that 0.23 of the pizzas sold are pepperoni, or we could say that is 23% of the pizzas sold are pepperoni. So that means 23% is equal to 2300. Work out what 1% is by dividing by 100 and by dividing by 23, multiply by 100 to give you, completely messed that up. Work out what 1% is by dividing by 23, and that will give you 100. And then work out what 100 is by multiplying by 100. So that's going to give you 1 and then 4 zeros, so 10,000. Okay, the next question. It says, by drawing suitable line on the grid, solve the simultaneous equation. And you've got this one, x minus 2y is equal to 4, and y is equal to 3x plus 3. So this is a line, this one is already drawn for us. We need to look at this line. So first of all, what do we know? This has a gradient of 3 and it has a y-intercept of 3 as well. So I'm going to plot the y-intercept first. So it's going to go here. Now a gradient of 3 means for every 1 you go across, you go up 3. Or for every 2 I go across, I go up 6. So I've gone across 2 there, just because it's easier, they've got that marked on. And that will go up 6 then, so that will take me up to this point 9. So I can mark that one on, probably do the same. I could also do the same by going, if I go back 2, I would go down 6. So that would take me to here. So I've got 3 points, and then you link those up with your ruler. Very awkward for me to do this on this thing. Hopefully this draws nicely. It's a very waggly line normally. So you can see that's what you've got. So that was your line. Y is equal to 3x plus 3. So what the question says is, by drawing a suitable line on the grid, solve the simultaneous equation. So the solution is this point. And what was this point? X equals minus 2. Y is equal to minus 3. Next question says, the first 4 terms of the sequence are 1, 4, 7, 10. What is the nth term? So here, the common difference is 3. So So I go 3 along to get to here. So that tells me my nth term is 3n, and if I went back, that would give me minus 2. So it's 3n minus 2. So the common difference bit gives you the number in front of your n, and then this bit gives you this thing here. So there's how we get our answer. So it was, what was it, 3n minus 2. Hence find the nth term of the sequence below. Now look at this top line. The top line is just your n squared, 1, 4, 9, 16, 25, 36, etc. So it's just n squared. And your bottom line is what you've just found. It was the 1, 4, 7, 10. So it's 3n minus 2. So that is your nth term. So treat it as two different sequences, top line and bottom line. Next one here says in standard form, you have 2 times 10 to the power of x times 3 times 10 to the power of y is equal to 6 times 6 times 10 to the power of 11. So if you multiply this thing out, the left-hand side of this one, you're going to have 6 times 10 to the power of x plus y. Multiply this one out, or divide this one, I should say, you're going to have 1.5 times 10 to the power of y minus x. So, and you can see x plus y equals 11, or x minus y equals 3. So let's just write that down. X plus y equals 11, and then I'll just write minus x plus y then is equal to 3, dot, 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 equation 1, dot, 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 equation 2, simultaneous equations. I would just add those. I'll get 2y is equal to 14, which means 1y is equal to 7. And then put them into equation 1. You'll have x plus 7 is equal to 11. X is equal to 11 minus 7. X is equal to 4. So you get 4 and 7. Next question says, the semicircle and the triangle have the same perimeter. Find the exact value of r. Not too nice a question, this one. Not too many nice questions in this paper. Very, very difficult paper. The semicircle then, the perimeter, you've got a half times 2 pi r, first of all, because that's perimeter for a whole circle is 2 pi r, plus you've got 2r. So that's your half times 2 pi r, that's the semicircle. Sorry, the arc of the semicircle, and then you've got the diameter then. So that's, we've got, tidy that up a wee bit, that's just going to be pi r plus 2r. And then for this one, for the triangle, I'll call this x. You can get x, first of all, is the square root of 3 squared minus 2 squared, which is going to be square root of 9 minus 4, which is x is going to be equal to root 5. Your perimeter then is root 5 plus 3 plus 2, which is root 5 plus 5. Okay, if these two things are equal, that means pi r plus 2r is equal to root 5 plus 5. Now what we want to find is find the exact value of r. So we want to isolate the r, so pull r outside a bracket, that's what you've got. And then just divide across root 5 plus 5, all divided by pi plus 2. And that's your answer. Next question, didn't like this one. Just thought it was a wee bit confusing here. It says a dice is rolled once, and that is key, so this is what confused me, I think. It's rolled once, and a coin is also flipped once, so this happens at the same time. Here are 4 events. Event A is a roll of the dice is even, the roll of the dice is odd. Event C is the flip coin lands head, and D is a flip coin lands tails. Write down 2 events which are independent. Okay, right. If you roll your dice and you flip your coin, they have absolutely no impact on each other. So A and C, or A and D, or B and C, or B and D. So there's your options for that one. So any of those, pick any of those two pairings and you will get your answer. 2 events which are mutually exclusive. So you can't have an even and an odd at the same time. You're only doing this once, remember? And likewise, you can't have a head or a tail. So C and D or A and B. Okay, next one says 2 events P and Q are mutually exclusive, which means they can't happen at the same time, which means the probability of P and Q equals 0. So if your 2 events are mutually exclusive, then It says, what are the probability that either event P or Q happens? So you're looking for the probability of P or Q. Now, that is the same as the probability of P plus the probability of Q. Your teacher probably told you down in school, if you say or, then that means you add, whatever you say and, you multiply, and that's for mutually exclusive events. So that's what you're going to have. So it's this one, probability of P, probability of Q. Okay, this one here, it says enlarge the shape scale factor -2 using this centre of enlargement 0, -1. So mark on your centre of enlargement. So how we do this? First of all, you go one wee square to get to here, then multiply by -2 means you go back this way. So that point goes to here. This point is 2 wee squares this way, so go back 1, 2, 3, 4 this direction. That's where this square goes to. And then this point here, that's where it was, and go backwards 2 wee squares is going to take you to here. So that's where your 3 points go to. And the link goes up with a ruler. I'm not going to do this with a ruler, just to save me a wee bit of time. So very roughly, that's what you get. Probability one again here says Lucy and Martin play in different chess leagues. The probability that Lucy wins her next game is 2/3. Probability that Martin wins his next game is 2/5. What is the probability that only one of them wins their next chess game? Right, I would just do a wee diagram for this. So we've got Lucy wins and Lucy loses. Martin wins. Martin loses. Martin wins. Martin loses. Lucy wins is 2/3, so she loses is 1/3. Martin wins is 2/5, so he loses is 3/5. So we'll see him again. Okay, what is the probability that only one of them win their next chess game? So Lucy could win, but that means Martin has to lose, or Lucy loses and Martin wins. So you have those two branches. So you multiply along here, so this branch, or this branch. And like I've just said, when you say or, you add. So when you say and, you multiply. So 2/3, Lucy wins and Martin loses is 2/3 times 3/5. Or Lucy loses, so 1/3, and Martin wins. So you multiply. So that's what you've got. Non-calculator exam, just do that out. That's going to be 6/15 plus 2/15. Tidy those up, and that's going to be 8/15. Can you cancel down any? You can't. That's as good as we can go. Next one says, there's a volume, similar shapes. Cuboid has a volume of 150. The height of a similar cuboid is twice the height of the original. So, what do we got? Height of a similar cuboid is twice the height of the original. So this is for length, to get from small to big. You multiply by your scale factor k, which is equal to 2. So for volume, to get from small to big, you multiply by k cubed, which is 2 times 2 times 2, which is 8. So that means the volume of the big one is the volume of the smaller one, which is 150 times 8. And 8 times 150, 8 times 100 would be 800, so 8 times 50 would be half of that, so 400. Add those, you're going to get that, so 1200 centimeters cubed. Okay, question 10 says work out the values of the integers. So this is a wee sort of identity type question. Work out your left hand side. It's going to be 2 plus a root 3 times 2 plus a root 3. Do it out the long way. People will make mistakes if they don't. So use your foil or your curly brackets. 4, 2 times 2 is 4. Then you've got this and this. So you've got 2 times a root 3 plus another 2 times a root 3. That is going to be 4a root 3. And then you've got a times a, which is a squared, times root 3 times root 3, which is 3. So 3a squared. So that's what you've got so far. I'm going to group all my number terms together. I've got 4 plus 3a squared plus then 4a times the root 3. Okay, now we can just balance this up, pair this up. your your 20 is equivalent to 4a. So let's just write that down. 4a equals 20, which means a is equal to 5. Put that on a box. And then this whole bracket is just equal to b. So you've got 4 plus 3a squared is equal to b, which means 4 plus 3 times 5 squared is equal to b. And that is 4 plus 5 squared is 25 times 3 is 75 is equal to b. B works out to be 79, and that's it. So a is 5 and b is 79. Okay, next question. Says a box contains 4 red pens, 2 blue pens, and 1 green pen. 2 pens are taken at random from the box. Show that the probability that they are the same color is 1/3. I used a tree diagram for this. You can do this without a tree diagram, but I just thought tree diagram would be the easiest way. So my tree diagram, I've got red, blue, or green, and from that you could have red, blue, or green. And then here from this one you could have red, blue, or green. Okay, right, I'm going to start filling these in and you'll see why in a wee second. I had 4 red, my total was 4 plus 2 plus 1 is 7. So it's 4 red out of 7, 2 blue out of 7, and 1 green out of 7. Now you're picking out one of these things. So if you pick out a green, you've no greens left, so you've just got red and blue left for this one. So that's all you've got. And right, 2 pens are taken out at random from the box. So you pull out a red, you're left with only 3 reds left out of 6. Don't cancel down on these. It doesn't help you to cancel down. So just leave them as uncancelled down fractions. So it's 3 out of 6. Your blues are 2 out of 6, and your greens, you've still 1 out of 6. Okay, if you pull out a blue here in the middle one, you'd have 1 blue left out of 6. Still the same number of reds, 4 out of 6, and 1 green out of 6. If you pull out a green, then in the last branch, you have no greens left. You have 4 reds left out of 6 and 2 blues out of 6. So there's just it filled in. Show that the probability that they're the same colour is 1/3. So the probability the same, you could have red or red, so 4 over 7 times 3 over 6, or you could have blue and blue. And again, don't cancel. That's 12 over 42 plus 2. If I could multiply 2 times 1, that would be good. 2 times 1 is 2. 7 times 6 is 42, which works out to be 14 over 42. And that cancels down. Divide top and bottom by 2 to give you 7 over 21. Now divide top and bottom by 7 to give you 1 over 3. And that's what we were looking for, 1/3. Right, what does that say next? What is the probability that neither of the 2 pens is green? Okay, so neither is green. The easiest way to do this is do it as 1 minus probability neither green is 1 minus the probability either green. So okay, so 1 minus, so I could have this whole branch, because there's a green here, or I'm going to take away that branch, and I'm going to take away this branch. So take away 1/7 and also take away 4 over 7 times 1 over 6, and also take away 2 over 7 times 1 over 6. So let's just sort that out. That's 1 minus 1 over 7 minus, and that's going to be 4 over 42 minus 2 over 42. To make life a wee bit easier, I'm going to change my 7 to be 1/7, to be 6 over 42 minus 4 over 42 minus 2 over 42. So that works out to be 1 minus 12 over 42. 12 over 42. And then that works out to be 30 over 42. And then we could cancel that down. That's the same as 15 over 21, which is the same then. Top and bottom divide by 3 to give you 5 over 7. So 5 over 7. There could well be an easier answer, easier method for that one. If there is, fantastic. Okay, last question I think on this paper is indeed. It says a circle has equation x squared plus y squared equals 25. So first of all, that's a circle. Center, center of the origin. Radius 5, but I don't think that's going to be important. PQ is a chord of a circle. PQ has the equation, this thing. Find the coordinates of P and Q. Okay, so the first thing we want to do is sub y equals minus 2x minus 5 into x squared plus y squared is equal to this. So if I to do this, so fire this in, x squared plus, instead of y, you write it in minus 2x minus 5 squared is equal to 25. And we'll just do that out. So take your time doing that. That's going to be x squared plus, and that's going to be minus 2x times minus 2x is, plus 4x squared. Minus 2x times minus 5 is 10. You've also minus 5 times minus 2x is also another minus 10. So another plus 10, so it's going to be plus 20x. And then what else have we got? And then what else have we got? Sorry, we've got another 25. That equals 25. So then, tidy that up. You will have 5x squared plus 20x equals 0, which means 5x comes outside a bracket, leaving you x plus 4, which means x equals 0, or x equals minus 4. So I would just say, when x equals 0, y equals, so it's going to be minus 2 times 0 minus 5, so y equals minus 5. So one of your points is 0 minus 5. And again over here, just say when x equals minus 4, your y equals minus 2 times minus 4 minus 5, which is going to be what? It's going to be 8 minus 5, which is going to be 3. So you've got another point is minus 4, 3. So let's just make sure you write those in the answer line. 0, what was that? What have we just said? 0 minus 5 and minus 4, 3. Okay, find the equation of the diameter of the circle, which is perpendicular to PQ. Okay, right. This took me a wee minute to think about this one, just to do a wee sketch of what's going on here. You've got your circle, got your x-axis and your y-axis, your circle, we've got a center. You've now found that our P, one of our points is a point 0, minus 5, and the other one is minus 4, 3. So minus 4, 3 is here. So you can imagine you've got that. And you want to find the diameter which is perpendicular to them. So you imagine you've got a diameter which is going perpendicular to them and it goes through the origin as well. So that's really what you've got. So the first thing to get started on this, confuse me a wee minute for this one, perpendicular to PQ. Find what's perpendicular to PQ. So find, first of all, the gradient of PQ. So using these two digits here, these two coordinates here, find what's perpendicular. So y difference is y3 minus 5, just set it out like that, over minus 4 minus 0, which is going to be 3 minus 5 is going to be 8 over minus 4. So my gradient is minus 2. Therefore, a perpendicular gradient is a negative reciprocal of that, so negative a half. Okay? And my diameter, if you think again, did I draw this diagram up here? The circle, it goes through the center. The center of it is, the diameter goes through the center. And so that means 0, 0 is one of your points. So you know, first of all, your equation is y is equal to minus a half x plus c. But we'll just say passes through, because it's the diameter of this circle, passes through the origin, which means 0 is equal to minus a half times 0 plus c. So 0 is equal to 0 plus c. C is equal to 0. So your equation is y is equal to minus a half x. And that's it. Okay, that was the end of that first part of the exam. You then would have left your exam hall and you would have gone in and started your calculator paper. So on the calculator paper, this was the first question. A wee bit easier, I thought, the calculator paper. That first paper, the non-calculator paper, was pretty horrendous. If I'm quite honest, I didn't like it at all. But there were definitely some easier questions on the calculator paper. First one, simplify this. All you're doing is subtracting the powers. So that's just being y to the power of 6. Next one, bring all the x's to one side. Oops, I've got my inequality. So that's 4x is greater than minus 12, which means x is greater than minus 12 over 4, which means x is greater than minus 3. Okay, binary question. Write the decimal number 19 as a binary. Okay, it's all about powers of 2 binary. The biggest power of 2 that goes into this thing, the biggest number, which is a power of 2, is 16. So 16 would fit in. The next one down is 8. It wouldn't fit in. Next one down is 4. It wouldn't fit in. Next one down 2. It would fit in. And then 1. So there's your answer for your binary. 1, 0, 0, 1, 1. This one says make m the subject. First thing I would do is fire the m across to the other side. So I'll have 3m plus y. And bring the y across. H minus y equals 3m. Then divide across by the 3 to give me my m, and I'll just say m then equals h minus y all over 3. So m is equal to h minus y all over 3. First page done. Next page is a rotation. It says rotate the shape 90 degrees anti-clockwise about 0 minus 3. So 90 degrees anti-clockwise about 0 minus 3. 0 minus 2, sorry, I can't read. 0 minus 2 is going to be here. And we're going anti-clockwise, which means we're going this direction. Okay, so that's the direction we're going. So to do this, let's get rid of that. Use your tracing paper. Trace this out. Put that as your center. And then put your finger on the center of rotation and then just rotate it around 90 degrees. So it's going to have this very rough shape over here. You know roughly where it's going to be, but you do that out properly and you see where you get. Okay, or if you're old school like me, you might maybe like to use wee L shapes. So I've got that wee L shape, which is 4 wee squares to the right, 4 wee squares up. And then if you rotate that by 90 degrees, it becomes 4 wee squares up and 4 wee squares to the left. And then I can redraw my shape from there. So if I redraw my shape from there, that's what I've got. Would I have this? Yes, I would have. That is what my shape would be. You could check with your tracing paper. And that's what it's going to be. Okay. Question 4. It says a regular polygon has an exterior angle of size 15. How many sides has a polygon? Your n is 360 divided by e is what you're using here. So 360 divided by 15. So your n works out to be 24. So it's 24 sides. Bailey thinks all regular pentagons are congruent. Right, congruent means the same size and shape. So if you had a regular pentagon, I'll try my best for a regular pentagon. There's a regular pentagon. You could also have this, which is a regular pentagon, which is an enlargement of it. So they're definitely not the same size. So no, they're not going to be congruent. All regular pentagons will be, the word for them would be similar. They are similar shapes. Okay, right. Bear with me. I'm going to go to my solution for this just to show you. Too awkward to do this one. Here we are. Right, so this is my solution for this next question. It says, draw the locus of all the points that are the same distance from A and B. So from my point A, I opened my compass up a certain amount and I drew an arc. So it swung around from like this. So that was my arc from A is what that says, believe it or not, my terrible scroll. My arc from A, and then the next thing I would do, same thing, I'll do my arc from B. So I open up a compass. So open your compass up sort of about 3/4 of the distance between A and B. It's very rough, and that's what you've got. your next thing is you then have their intersection points here and here, and you do your line through the intersections of the arcs. So any point on this line here will be equidistant, or the same distance from A and B. So that's what you've got. Okay, so we'll get rid of those horrible colours there, and we'll see. Okay, so you can see that you do your first arc, second arc, arc from A, arc from B, and then where they intersect, that's what you draw through. Okay, next one. Right, didn't like this one as well. It says Georgia rolls a dice a number of times and records the outcomes of each time. She displays her results in this pie chart. So you can see they're all fairly similar except for two. Two, for some reason, there seems to be a bit more. Alice thinks George's dice is biased, which means unfair. Bob disagrees. What information is needed to decide? Now, say they had done this, they'd only rolled this dice maybe 12 times or 20 times or whatever, and these were the results they wouldn't get. They've got, it wouldn't be very significant. So if it's only rolled 20 times, and Alice thinks, oh, this is an unfair dice, it's a biased dice, there's not enough information. You haven't really surveyed it. You haven't performed the experiment enough times. So I think really what you need to do is decide how many times the dice was rolled. Because say it had been rolled, say, 600 times or 6,000 times, and these were the results you were getting, then it does look like 2 is significantly more likely than the rest of them. So what I think you would need to understand, and I'm not 100% sure in this answer, but if I'm quite honest, I would say the number of times it was rolled. Okay, next question says, describe fully the single transformation which maps A to B. Okay, first of all, you would try doing a wee rotation and using your tracing paper and see can you rotate to get the A to B, but you can't. It's definitely not a translation because it's not just slit across to the left or the right. So it's actually what it is here. It's a reflection in this line here that I'm about to draw. Bear with me. So it's a reflection in your line y equals minus x. Let's just see how that is. So if you go from here to here, it's half a wee square, and then half a square to here. If I go from here, 1, 2 and a half, 1 and a half, 2 and a half, and from here, 1, 2, 1, 2. So you can see it as a reflection in your line y equals minus x. You need to write that whole thing. Reflection in the line y equals minus x. Okay, next one. We've got two similar shapes. Find the values of P and Q. Okay, right. I'm going to use the ratio method. There's other methods you could use here, but I'm just going to say that this side here on the, where is P? P is on the small one. This side here on my small goes to this side, which means this side, which goes to this side, are going to be in the same ratio. So I'm going to just say 1.2 over 1.6 is going to be the same as P over 2.8, which means you can multiply across by 2.8. 2.8 is 1.2 over 1.6 will be P, and when I did that in my calculator, I got 2.1. And that's going to be, that's going to be meters. All right, now they haven't left wee space for you to put where they haven't said what the units are. Just to be sure, if they ever do that, you put the units in. Next one says find the value of Q. So for Q, let's get rid of that highlighting here. For Q, where is my Q? Q is on the small one. So Q over its corresponding side will be equal to this 1.6 over the 1.2. Let's just write that in. What have we got? Q over 0.75 will be equal to 1.6 over 1.2. Then multiply across, Q is going to be equal to 0.75 times 1.6 over 1.2. And when I did that out again, I got 1, and that's going to be meters again. Okay, question 8, tricky question. It says, when a body is moving through the air resistance R newtons, is proportional to the square of the velocity v. So air resistance R is proportional to the square of the velocity v. That's what you've got. It says at a velocity of 100, the air resistance is 50. So 50 is equal to k times 100 squared. So tally up, that's 50 is equal to, that's going to be 10,000 k. Then 50 over 10,000 is equal to k. Wee bit of working out, k is equal to 1 over 200, which means r is equal to, so we now know we're putting r into this thing, you're going to get 1 over 200 times v squared, which is the same as v squared over 200. So find r in terms of v, and we have done that. Okay, next one says find r when v is equal to 120. So very easy. This is a calculator exam, I should say. So you just fire in your v. So that's what you have. Let me just check that. 120 squared and then divided by 200. And I got 70. R is equal to 72. Yep. R is equal to 72 newtons. Okay, next question. It says the probability that it rains in Ireland on any given day in December is 0.62. Complete the tree diagram to show the information for Christmas Day and Boxing Day. So you've got Christmas Day, it rains or it doesn't rain. Boxing Day, it rains or it doesn't rain. Rains or it doesn't rain, and we'll just fill this in. So 0.62. 0.62 is for all the rains. And then for it doesn't not to rain, then will be 1 minus 0.62, which is 0.38. So that's what you've got. Completed. What is the probability that it rains on exactly one of those days? So it means it could rain on Christmas Day, but not on Boxing Day, or it could not rain on Christmas Day, but rain on Boxing Day. That's exactly one of those days. So it's just 0.62 times 0.38, or 0.38 times 0.62. And let me just check that again. 0.62 times 0.38. Two of those. When I did that, I got 4712. Okay, very, very difficult question, this one. It says, AB is a vertical mast and CAD is horizontal. The angle of elevation of B from C is 36 degrees, so just mark in what we know. The angle of elevation of B from D is 48, so that's 48 in here. It also says the distance of CD is 100. So I have called this one X, and then this one is going to be 100 minus X. And I'm going to call this height H, because that's what we want to find, this height H here. Okay, right. I'm going to set up two trig equations to find H. So first of all, tan. Remember, tan is equal to your opposite over adjacent. So in a triangle with the 36 degrees, the opposite is H. The adjacent is X, so that's what you've got. Come back to that in a wee second. Over here, you've also got tan of 48 will be equal to its opposite H over 100 minus X. Now let's cross multiply here by the denominator. So you're going to have X tan 36 equals H, or over here, brackets 100 minus X times tan of 48 is equal to H. Okay, and I can see a mistake in the answer that I'm looking at here. Okay, right, so you've got your H. What we want to do then, well, I'm going to put those two things equal. I think we'll do the easiest. I'm going to find my X and then I'll find my H at the end. So first of all, I'm going to find my X by putting these two things equal. So I'm going to say X tan 36 is equal to 100 minus X times tan of 48, which means bring that all to one side, multiply out and bring it all to one side. I'm going to have X tan 36, I'm not skipping any steps here, tan of 48 minus X tan of 48. Bring all the X's to one side, I'll have X tan 36 plus X tan 48 is equal to 100 tan of 48. that x then multiplies that bracket and then you can say your x then is equal to 100 tan of 48 over tan of 36 plus tan of 48. So you've got a value for your x. Okay, now remember up above here, h was equal to tan of 36 times that x. So that means therefore h is equal to tan of 36 times 100 tan of 48 over tan of 36 plus tan of 48. I know it's horrendous, and let's just work it out. And I've got them work this out as well. I made a wee mistake earlier on when I was doing this. So tan of 36 times, and use your fraction button, top line, it's 100 times tan of 48. Close your brackets, remember, after your angles. And then bottom line, you had tan of 36, and close your bracket, plus tan of 48. Close your brackets, press equals. And hopefully this is right. I've got my h is 43.9 meters, and that's the 3 sig figs. Okay, it looks to me like it is right. Okay, oh dear. Next one, it says the mass m kilograms of a decaying substance X years after its manufacture is given by this formula. Okay, this isn't difficult, this bit of it, but it's just awkward, the next part. It says sketch a graph to show the mass over the 4 years. So, first thing you do is you plot these points. So put X, the years is X, so put X equal to 0. Anything to the power of 0 is going to be 1. Next one, put x equal to 1. 0.8 to the power of 1 will be 0.8. Next one, just doing this now, 0.8 squared is going to be 0.64. So 0.64 is going to be here. Next one, 0.8 to the power of 3 is going to be 0.51. So 0.51 was sort of halfway between those. And then 0.8 to the power of 4 is going to be 0.4096, so it's going to be sort of halfway between that as well, and that's what we've got. Right, now I'm going to very badly link these up, unfortunately. Not too bad at all. Right, what matters is there. The next part of the question says, by drawing appropriate lines in a graph, find how many months, after how many months, the mass was 70% of the original. Now the original was 1, so 70% of the original is going to be 0.7. So you're going to go across at 0.7 and down. I have no idea what the right answers are for this. You're using your graph, so my graph wasn't great. But you're going across and down anyway, meeting your graph and going down. Okay, you can see that's very, very rough. So that's 1.6 years. Okay, after how many months? So that's equal to 1.6 times 12. So we just do that. 1.6 times 12 is, we'll say it's 19.2 months. 19.2 months. Okay, hopefully that is the right answer for that one. Okay, find the rate of decay when x is equal to 3. Right. When x equals 3 then, what you're doing as best as you can is you're doing the gradient at x equals 3. So you go up to this point here, and what you want to do is draw the tangent. So the what the rate of decay is all about is the gradient. So anything you see a rate, so that's it. So you're doing this tangent here, and believe me, this is completely different what I did when I did this before. So use your answers, whatever you get. Make sure it's clear what you're using. Okay, so I've picked a couple of points here. So I'm just going to link those up with a right angle triangle. When I did this out originally, I think I got minus 1.07. So we'll see if it's different. It looks a lot different here. my gradient. But there's going to be a lot of room for error. Okay, the vertical height here is going to be 0.4. The horizontal, this is from, what have I done here from this time? This time that's going to be 3.9 minus 0.5, which is going to be 3.4. So remember those, vertical was 0.4, and then it was 3.4. Oh, I've completely messed that up the first time. I just realised when I did that. So that is the rate of decay at x equals 3. It was, what have I just said? 0.4, and you're going down 0.4 over 3.4. So minus 0.4 divided by 3.4. So the rate of decay is minus 0.118. That's the 3 sig figs kilograms per year. So kilograms per year. Okay, next question. We've got this shape here. It says AB is 6 meters, CE is 4 meters, BE is 9 meters, and you have to find the length of A to C. So A to C is this diagonal along the front, so it's a 3D 3D Pythagoras question. You can do that in one go to say that AC is equal to 6 squared plus 9 squared plus 4 squared. If you do that out, that's perfect answer of root of 113. It's not 113 at all, it's 133. Let me just check that again. 36 squared plus 9 squared plus 4 squared. Yes, 133, which is 11.5 meters to 1 decimal place, or 3 sig figs. It says calculate the angle between AC and the base. Now, I'll draw that there. What we want to do, it's all about finding right angle triangles. There's your E and your C. That's a right angle. You know that's 4. And you know the perfect answer of this is 133. And that's your A. So what you want to do is find that angle theta. So if you imagine that's a right angle triangle there. So here, you would say sine of your theta is equal to 4 over the square root of 133. And then do sine to the minus 1 of that. And when I did sine to the minus 1 of that, I got 20.3 degrees. That's the 3 sig figs. So 20.3. Okay, last question. Happy days. It says P is inversely proportional to the square of x. So that tells you, first of all, that P is equal to K x squared. It says when the value of x is increased from A to A plus 1, the value of P is halved. Okay, find the exact value of A. So I'm going to say let P equal Y. We just say when x equals A. So let's put that in. That means Y is equal to K over A squared. And also we're going to let then P equal 2Y, because it was doubled, when x equals A plus 1. So that means 2y is equal to K over brackets A plus 1 squared. Okay, right. That's my equation 1. That's my equation 2. I'm going to do 2 times my equation 1. That's going to give me 2y is equal to 2k over a squared. Now what we've got is I've got 2y equals this thing, and I've also got 2y equals this thing. So we're going to just say put the 2y equal to the 2y equal to the 2y. So that means k over a plus 1 squared is equal to 2k over a squared. All right, what you can do here with this is get rid of the k, so you'll have 1 over a plus 1 squared is equal to 2 over a squared. And then what we're going to do is cross multiply. I'll write that down again up here. What have I just said? 1 over a plus 1 squared is equal to 2 over a squared. And we'll go from here. So cross multiply. I'm going to have a squared is equal to 2 times a plus 1 squared. So that's a squared is equal to 2 times a plus 1 times a plus 1. And then get multiplying out. That's going to be 2 times a squared plus 2a plus 1. And then sort that out, you're going to have a squared equals 2a squared plus 4a plus 2. Then bring it all to one side, you'll have a squared plus 4a plus 2. And then you've got to find the exact values. A is equal to, using your quadratic equation, minus 4 plus or minus 4 squared minus 4 times my a times my c, all divided by 2a, and that works out to be minus 4 plus or minus the square root of 8 all over 2, which is the same as minus 4 plus or minus 2 root 2. If you put root 8 in your calculator, come out as 2 root 2 all over 2, which means a is equal to minus 2 plus or minus root 2. And it says find the exact value of a, values of a, so there's your answer. It's minus 2 plus root 2 or minus 2 minus root 2. And that's us done. Okay, folks, that was a horrendous M8 exam. I would imagine the grade boundaries for it would be very, very low.